So this story starts at my back at my house. Way back there where I live. I won't tell you where that is, but I live somewhere, I can tell you that much. I was there sitting, sipping some coffee on the table. And I sat there and I thought to myself, I'm gonna read the paper. No, I'm gonna do it. I don't read the paper all that often, but I decided to read it today. Only paper that actually intrigues me because it only is the one that has anything interesting in it is the paper called the Totally Reliable Newspaper Source. I tried to look them up. I couldn't find anything, but they post some really interesting stuff. So I kind of picked up the paper, started reading a little bit. Oh man, gas prices are up for children under the age of 3. Oh, that's terrible. How could that be? And eventually, I kept on reading that. I went through the Sudoku that seemed to have several nines in a row, and learned more about baby gas prices and how rabbits are failing in the stock to keep up with the stock market. And eventually, I caught in a little article that caught my eye. An article featuring something I never thought I'd see. It was a very blurry image, but the photographer, who they mentioned in the article, claimed that he had seen a being unlike anything he'd ever seen before. There's a certain mythical creature out there called the Griffin. It's got the head. It's like part lion, part eagle. And it's a creature that exists out there. It's a creature. But this creature is very special because this wasn't a normal griffin. It was called a Gryffdog, he claimed. He claimed to be called a Gryffdog. This Gryffdog was an entity that, yes, it had the wings and lower body. It had the wings of a bird and lower body of a lion. But the front of it, that was a dog. I said, you know what? That would be amazing. And I wish I had a Gryffdog. And so I kept on reading the article. And the interviewer had asked him, how do you figure out, how do you discover this? He discovered this amazing being. And he said, well, I think I summoned it in a way. I think I called it over. And how do you do that? Well, you see, I kind of just there's several things you need if you want to attract one of these things. You want a bucket of salt. Okay, a bucket of salt. The rib cage bone of a dragon. Dragon's bone, got it. And you want some chewy, chewy, yum, yum dog food treats. Today's sponsor of this interview. Chewy, chewy dog yum treats. Sponsor. Okay? We got it all. I had to find all of these things and get myself the Gryffdog. And so I set out. I packed up my stuff. I got a canteen full of water. I got some bread for myself. And I went out in search of some salt, a bucket of salt, a dragon's bone, uh, yummy, yummy dog treats, and a sponsorship. And so I went out. I went out and I explored. I walked around in the woods for a good while before I eventually came across it. Right there in front of me was a fisherman. It was pretty terrible at fishing. And because of that, right next to him was an empty bucket in which I could use to get some salt. And I said, "Excuse me, sir. I would like, can I have your bucket?" And he kind of looked at me, he just kind of grumbled a little bit. He sounded like those old grouchy fishermen. And then, "No, you can't have my bucket. This is my bucket. Your own bucket." I said, "Well, you just seem pretty terrible at fishing, so I thought, I could get it off of your hands." And he just kind of scowled at me and said, "What are you saying about fishing skills?" I said, "Well, you're not really catching anything. About patience. You have to wait for the fish to come to you. You can't expect it to go right away. To give a chance, you need to stay here and wait for the fish to come to you." "How long you been waiting here?" "About 3 days." God dang it. And so, as I gave him a proposition, I said, "Look, if I can catch more fish than you, then I get to have that bucket." Old man kind of laughed and he went, "Huh? You'll never catch more fish than I have." And we'll see about that. I took my own rod that he had and I threw it in the water and I sat there. I sat there and I waited. I waited and I waited and I waited. Hours passed by. Nothing caught on the line. And I realized something. I realized something there. The reason nothing was catching on the line was simply that we were fishing in a puddle. A puddle that had been there and is kind of just mostly dried up at this point. And we were sitting there fishing in this puddle. So I just kind of did a little turn around into the lake behind me. And in about 30 seconds, I got myself a sunny. And the old man gasped and said, "How did you do that?" I went to the pond. "This is a lake." "That's a puddle." "Are you feeling okay?" "Fine." "Okay, well, I'm gonna. Deal's a deal. I'm gonna take your bucket now." "I'm fine. Take the bucket." So I grabbed the bucket and I walked out of there. Bucket in hand, and I said, "Okay, bucket down. Now just for the salt." And luckily, there was a salt company not too far by, a salt factory. They just got salt. And so I walked up there. And I said, "Excuse me, ma'am. I like enough salt to fill this bucket." "How full do you want the bucket?" "At the top, preferably." "Give me a minute." Buzzed a little thing on her phone and picked it up and said, "Sir, there's a man out here who wants who wants a bucket's worth of salt." And he said, I saw in the distance a man talking on the phone back. And he said, the boss will see you now." And I walked in there and I said, "Look, sir, I want your salt. Can you give me any of your salt?" And he said, "Fine, take it." Well, really?" "Yeah." "Why are you giving it to me so easily? I had an entire speech plan, an entire argument." It was me back and forth for hours. Yeah, we're too much salt in here. Everyone's always getting dehydrated constantly. Therefore, no one works because they're just drinking water constantly. Ah, that really is a shame. Well, thank you for the bucket's worth of salt. I'll just go my way now. Yeah, you're welcome. And so I left that place, bucket of salt in hand, feeling quite dehydrated myself, so I drank some of the water from the canteen I had. And now came a more difficult part. I had to find myself a dragon bone. Specifically, the rib cage of a dragon. I don't know where to find a rib cage of a dragon. Where does one find that? So luckily, there happened to be a sign. An archaeologist site. No. Yes, an archaeologist site. It's misspelled. Spelled poorly. Really poorly, actually. I don't know why. And so, I saw the signs, and I'll go there. They probably have dragon bones. And I walked there, and I was instantly greeted by a toddler in an archaeologist outfit with a little plastic pick. And I looked at me and said, what do you want? Hi, little guy, I'm looking for some rib cages of dragons. You happen to have any? I said, yeah. What's it to you? And said, well, I kind of need it to find a Gryffdog, you see? He said, a Gryffdog, huh? That thing in the paper? Yeah, Gryffdog. Tell you what, you can help me dig up this other bones I'm trying to find. I will give you said Gryffdog. I will give you, not said Gryffdog, I will give you that ribcage bone. Really? Yeah, I mean, we need all the help we can. I mean, look at me, I'm a toddler. Gas prices are up for us. We need this money. And I said, okay. Okay, I'll help. And so we went in, and I grabbed the pick, and I saw the giant structure in front of me. A big old rock. With some bones sticking out of it. I said, okay, that's the one? Yeah, it's the one. I started picking away at it. Ever so slowly, it began to crumble. Bits and pieces of it, all falling apart. I said, that's gonna take forever. I'll never get to this. But then I noticed it. A hole in the side. And I said, I got an ingenious idea. And so I grabbed some dynamite. I grabbed it. And I lit it and I stuck it in the hole. And the whole rock blew up. All the bones were separated. Some of them broke. Though it's like, you broke the bones. Yes, well, it actually did you a favor. Why is that? I broke apart the rock. That rock would have taken much longer to break apart than it would take you to glue these bones back together. And he kind of looked at me and said, you know, you got a point. You got a point. I'll give you that dragon bone. Just because of that point. Not because of the deal we had. No, the deal's off when you shattered my bones. But that point brings it back. Okay, I'm glad. Thank you. Thank you for that. So let's go do that. Let's go. Let's go get that bone. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. And so I left. So we went and grabbed the bone from the office. A really big bone, giant in fact. About twice the size of me, so I had to hold it the entire time. I stuck my bucket of salt on it too. And I said, okay. 2 more things left. The chewy yum yum treats. And a sponsorship. I thought we'd go with the next one on the list of the chewy yum yum treats. Right after I took a sip of water. From my canteen that I had. Because the Wolverine pig's gotta drink sometimes. But we started walking. We were walking down the path. I was. And I went to the local grocery store and I said, "You got any yummy, yummy dog treats?" And the lady behind the counter said, "I'm sorry, sir, we're all out for now." "Well, where can I find some?" I mean, the store next door might have some. And I said, "Okay, I'll go over there." So I went to the store next door. They didn't have any. I went to the store after that. They didn't have any. I went to the store after that. And they did not have any. I ended up feeling defeated. And I was walking back when I heard a voice. "Psst, psst, hey, you over there." Turned, looked in the dark alley, and a man in a trench coat emerged. "I hear you want some yummy, yummy dog treats." "Yeah? You have any?" And he opened up his trench coat and revealed several boxes of the yummy, yummy dog treats and said, "I got a whole stock here. All I need you to give me is a little 5 extra bucks. How much is it usually worth? $5. That's not that bad." So I handed him the $10 and I said, "What's your name?" And he said, "I'll never tell you that." "Why not?" "Because it sounds more ominous." "I like you." "Thanks, man." And so he slinked back in the shadows. And now was the most difficult part of the entire journey. A sponsorship. I had to get a sponsorship to get this to work. You know? I didn't know where to go. No one would accept the Warveteran Pig as a sponsor. That'd be weird. And eventually, I had an idea. I was still standing there. I quickly ran to the alley after the guy. And I said, "Hey, Mr. Shady Guy. How would you like to sponsor me?" "Sponsor you?" "Yeah, sponsor me. For buying your product." And he looked at me and he's like, "Will you get me more people to come buy my stuff?" "I probably will. I probably will." And he kind of looked at me up and down and he said, "All right, fine. I'll take your sponsorship. I'll do it." I said, "Great. Happy to hear it." And so just, I said, "Okay, here's the plan. Here's what we're gonna do, folks. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring all the stuff back to my house. I'm gonna set it all under a tree. I'm gonna have the guy all in the dragon rib bone, in the bucket of salt, in the chewy, chewy yum dog treats, all underneath this one tree. And I am going to go to bed for the night because it's late. And in the morning, we're gonna check up on it again." So I did all that. I went home. I set everything up. I went to bed. And I came back out to find an amazing discovery. There was Shady Guy sitting on top of a creature covered in salt. Yummy, yummy dog treat. Yummy, chewy, chewy, yum dog treats all over its face. And a giant dragon rib cage bone in its mouth. It was, in fact, the Gryffdog. I gasped audibly. It's even more amazing than I pictured. It wagged its little tail as it saw me, seeming happy as ever. And I said, "Do you want to be friends, little buddy?" And actually quite big. He's about the same size as I, so I don't like call him little. But I decided to do that. And I said, "Do you want to be my friend?" And he just went, "Roar," from within the little, holding on to the rib cage bone. And I said, "Great." And I hopped on his back. He said, "Let's take a little fly, you and I. Also a shady guy." Hey, that rhymed. I did, didn't it? And then and on that note, we took off into the sky and flew around happily ever after. Hi, welcome to the YouTube end screen. I kind of forgot to write a script for this one, so I thought I'd just do an improv rhyming game with you guys. So like, we can start with purple. What rhymes with purple? We got Sherple.